If you don't know, I put a lot of money into SCHD. Honestly think it's a great position. It's a great ETF that can provide you with a decent dividend. And honestly, a lot of people love it. A lot of people like the growth. But over this last year or even 2 years, I haven't seen much growth within the position. And while ETFs, you have to give it time to kind of mature and make its moves and do all that, you also see other things that are moving in the market that primarily invest into a certain sector that will give you growth and consistently give you growth. Over the last 5 years, over the last 10 years, you see the movement within those positions. So, with this being said, I am done buying SCHD. I'm going to sit at whatever SCHD I have. I'm not going to sell it. I'm going to see that grow as time goes on and be able to gain the dividends that I can gain. However, I'm now going to be transitioning my buy one every day of SCHD into buying just about one of this other ETF. So we're going to talk about that in this video. If you guys can, make sure you hit the like button, hit that subscribe button, and hit the notification bell for more of these videos. Don't forget to check out my links down below if you guys want to sign up for Robinhood, for Webull, or for Crypto.com, or something related to investing. Feel free to check out those links in the description. Now, like I said, if you didn't know about my Charles Schwab situation, let's say you are new here, or you haven't seen my other two videos that are pretty big on this channel about my SCHD position, I currently have 1,762 SCHD. And I do plan on having that reinvest and just continue to add more to the play as time goes on. I'm not adding any more money to it. That's from my bank account. Whatever comes from dividends will be what comes from dividends, and it'll be reinvested into there. But right now, I'm sitting at an average of about $27.11. I have $48,877 invested into it, which is currently 26.9% of my portfolio. Honestly, I want it to stay around 25%, so that's why I'm now going to reinvest into other things or continue to invest into other things. But this just hasn't provided me with the growth that I really wanted within an ETF and what I've seen in other ETFs that I hold. So with this, I've actually been not gaining as much. I wouldn't say losing because I still am up $1,000, but I could have gained so much more elsewhere percentage wise. So if we look at the last year, 365 days, it hasn't even gained a percent, right? It is down by 0.27%. In the last 5 years, yes, things look good. It's up by 46%, but that's also, you're looking at less than 10% per year. And the last year just hasn't really been fantastic, right? Now I am going to let it sit there, and I expect to gain decent percentages over time and gain 5 to 10% over time. But while I see and compare different years, I'm like, all right, this must have just been a down year for everything. Well, it wasn't. If you were investing into a certain sector, that's kind of the make or break of that position. Now, primarily for SCHD, primarily they are invested into energy. They have consumer defense, they have healthcare, 10% into technology. And with these top three that are there, I'm not saying you wouldn't see growth within it. I'm not saying that you're not going to see movement within it, because we have had history of it even growing 24% in a year, right? However, this is just not the year for these sectors, right? Healthcare, energy, consumer defense, maybe even financial services and stuff like that. So when you're invested into some of these companies that it's invested into, it's not necessarily giving you that larger form of growth. And what I've noticed for me personally is a lot of the things that I have are kind of invested into sort of the same sector, whether it's financial services, whether it's healthcare, whether it's real estate. They're investing into kind of the same sectors, and I don't have an important sector in my overall dividend portfolio, my ETFs. And can you guess what that sector is? Right? That one sector that's probably the most important sector to have for years to come and decades to come is technology. I have no positions that have a heavy impact on technology in my possession. The only thing is the exception is the SPY. The SPY has a massive amount of technology in that, but the dividend honestly sucks. It's not the best dividend that you can get. The growth is consistent. It looks amazing, but I just don't have that. So if I go over to the SPY, just to give you a sense of that, um, I scroll down here and you even look at a year, the last year, it's up by 15%. While my SCHD, $48,000 worth, is down by 0.2% or 0.3%, the S&P is up by 15% over that time frame. I could have gained 15% over that time frame if I decided to invest more money into the S&P 500. But I didn't. And the reason why is primarily they are invested into technology, right? 34% into technology, 15% gain over the last year. It all makes sense. So why don't I have, out of all of my positions that I have, why don't I have more that's invested into technology? I have $182,000 in this account, and not many of my positions are invested heavily into technology. Right? Whether you're talking about SPYD, whether you're talking about SPHD, or whatever. I looked up a few positions that will give me that. One, obviously, I talked about was a SPY. Another one, I forget what it was, but then I saw this one that I'm currently invested into, FDVV. It's a Fidelity High Dividend ETF. This, over the past year, has grown by about 11%. I have been able to make 16% on my money for all history that I have with it the entire time. That's great compared to what I've been able to gain for SPHD, right? Or SCHD, sorry. It's just not the same percent, not even close to the same percentage, right? We scroll down here and we look at what they're invested into. 25% into technology, 19% into financial services. Yes, you have consumer defense, but you have majority of that impact here, where you have Nvidia, you have Microsoft, you have Apple, you have JP Morgan Chase, you have Visa, you have Coca-Cola, you have ExxonMobil, right? You have a lot of the 32% of the top holdings, right? 32% of the assets are these plays, which 25% is technology. So I'm deciding that this is going to be my first major technology play, which should have been the case from the beginning. I started investing into the SPY, but I didn't invest a lot because the dividend percentage sucks. However, FDVV has a dividend percentage of 2.9%, which is not the best that I've seen out there, but it's definitely better than 1% or better than 1.2% or 1.5%, right? 3% is what I want as that average. And if I could put more money into technology, be able to gain 11% for this overall position, I'm going to consistently put more money in here. So I have a recurring buy. Every single day, I'm going to buy, every single market day, I'm going to buy $50 worth of FDVV, which should get me somewhere close to 1. It's going to get me 0.9 every day. And as I invest, $2,000 per month or so, I'm going to put that primarily into FDVV as my main player right now. And I would like to be able to gather, a few thousand, maybe 1,000 or 2,000 before it's all said and done. If I can get 1,000, that'll get me to about $50,000 worth in what I'm holding in here, which will then be, a higher percentage of the portfolio, and it will lower the percentage of what SCHD actually is overall. So that's my plan. That's what I'm deciding to do. I want to know what you guys think about it. I've only seen a few higher dividend paying technology ETFs that have the consistency, that have the growth, that have the notoriety. Others that are out there don't really have all of those together, right? They may have the dividend, but they don't have the consistent growth. They may have the consistent growth for a year, but they don't have the dividend, right? I want to see kind of all of the above and something that's been around for a longer period of time. So let me know what you think about this. Let me know if it's now going to be within your strategy. If you already have a technology ETF in your possession, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell for more of these videos, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. See ya.